How's it going, everyone? This is Coxie and you're watching Coxie Tutorials and Gameplay. I've changed the name of my YouTube channel and I'm looking for someone to possibly do me some channel art. I'm pretty rubbish at doing both thumbnails and especially channel art. So if anyone's got a bit of spare time, I'd be wrapped if you sent me something to Coxie Tutorials at Yahoo. I'll put it up on the screen when I edit this video so you know exactly where to send it, and I'll just pick the one that relates to the channel the most and I'll show it on my video if I get any art sent in. So yeah, if you've got some spare time, please do some channel art. Maybe include something to do with tutorials or Unity or Blender or anything like that, or all mixed in together. That would be awesome. Okay, enough of that. So what we're going to do today, hopefully, I'm thinking we might make it so that when we shoot certain objects, bullet holes appear, and we might make it so that when we shoot our enemy, blood comes out. I don't know if we're going to have time to do the whole lot because there's a couple of things I want to fix up from the last tutorial, but anyway, let's get stuck in and see how we go. Now, first things first, excuse me, in our last tutorial we made it so that we could die and that we could respawn. The main problem I have at the moment with how we've got it set up is that when we die, like now, we can still shoot and we can still kill the enemy. Now, to fix this, I'm going to disable the raycast shooting script once we are dead, and don't worry about that enemy floating around. That I'm also going to fix that in some later tutorials where we're actually going to animate this enemy through Mechanim, and I'll make it so that when the enemy's, say, 2 meters away from us, he won't come any closer. Okay, he'll just attack us. So that's going to be coming up in later tutorials. That's something pretty cool to look forward to, but for today we're going to fix up some of this stuff. I'm not going to be able to disable the minigun from playing the animation when we push the button and making the noise, but I will be able to disable it so that we cannot kill enemies once we are dead and the you died and respawn comes up. So to do this, first things first, we used to have first person character. We had the raycast shooting script in here, so you can just disable it like that, just clicking off that tick, or you can just completely remove the component. I'll just excuse me, disable it. And what you want to do is go to first person controller where we have the player respawn and the player health, and you want to put your raycast shooting script in here, so on your first person controller. The reason being that I want to disable this script from the player respawn script, and I can't do that unless the raycast shooting script is actually on the same game object as this script. So that is why we're moving it over here. Okay, so let's go ahead and disable this script when we die. So double click on player respawn. Convert your line endings. And what we're going to do is we're going to come up here to where we've got our other 2 variables. I'll just do it under this respawn transform variable because these are basically all for disabling the scripts. These, sorry, not that one. These top 3. We'll make it the top 3. Okay, here we go. So what we're going to do is do a variable, so var, and I'm going to call it shoot script, just so I know that it's the raycast shooting script. Shoot script, and then the name of the script, which is raycast shooting. Make sure that this is called exactly what your shooting script is. It should be called raycast shooting if you did it the same as me, but if not, just make sure it's called the same as the script you want to disable. So semicolon after that, and then underneath here basically the same as what we've done for these other two. We're going to type shoot script equals game object dot get component and we're just going to do raycast shooting. Sorry, I was just making sure I was typing it right because it's very important that it's spelt correctly. All the upper and lower case have to be exactly the same, otherwise it won't work. So then down here where we when we die and we disable our look and our movement, we're going to also put in this one here. So shoot script dot enabled equals false, and then just copy this, take it down here to when we respawn again and we want it to be enabled again, and paste it here and change it to true. Okay, so that should be good now. So file and save that back into Unity. I was stuffing around with the enemy again, so I'll just change that back to 50 where I had the gravity. Actually, I want to be clicked on the controller so I can show you guys and see if this actually works. So you see all the scripts are enabled. This enemy is going nuts and killed us, and as you can see now that we're dead, the first person controller script is disabled, the raycast shooting script is disabled. So that's perfect, that's what we want. The only problem is we can still shoot the gun. Yeah, we can shoot the gun. It plays the animation and it spins, but it doesn't actually shoot any bullets. So that's as good as I'm going to get it for now. I can actually make it so that I disable this minigun when we die, but the only problem is I can't enable it again. So yeah, I'm just going to leave it like this for now, and we're going to do some far more interesting things. Okay, so I'll get back out of this. And what we're going to do is I'm going to import a bullet hole texture that I got. Yeah, I don't like that one. So I've got two. I've got this one and I've got this one. I like this one a lot better, so I'll get that one. For anyone that doesn't know how to like make it so the background is invisible, just let me know in the comments and I'll do a quick tutorial and show you how to do this. But you can pretty much do it in any program like Photoshop and GIMP, which is free, and things like that. Even the most basic ones you get with Windows, I'm pretty sure you can make the background invisible, which is very important. Otherwise, when the bullet mark appears on the wall when we shoot it, it's going to have the background in it as well. So alright, we'll carry on. You can just get bullet texture marks like this offline, like I get everything else. Everything that I use, as you guys know, you can just get offline for free, okay? So we've got our bullet hole texture now. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into our raycast shooting script, which is now on our FPS controller. And we're just going to make a couple of adjustments. The first one, I've left this commented out so I could remember to tell you guys. Under function update, we had our variable for raycast hit. I want you guys to move that up here now, just with the var the damage, sorry. And you can just get rid of this one. I'm not really liking this shooting script. We'll probably redo this at some point and make it better, but for now it should be fine. We're just going to update it a little bit so that we can actually let it know that when the ray hits an object, say like that we tagged as environment, it'll put a bullet hole, and then we can make it so that when it hits an enemy object, it it instantiates blood instead. So first of all, we are going to do a couple of variables. So var bullet holes, and it's game object, and then var blood, we'll just call it blood effect, makes sense. Blood effect, it's also just game object, and then we're going to do a function down here, and we'll just call it bullet effects. Bullet. Oh, hang on. I better type function first. Function bullet effects. Open and close parentheses. Open and close curly brackets. And in these, we're going to put if statement. If hit dot transform dot tag. So we're going to do a tag. You could also use name here. If you use name instead of tag, whatever you call an object, just say, I'll quickly go back here, just say we wanted it to only show blood or a bullet hole when we hit the tyrant zombie. You could use name and tyrant zombie, and it would make blood when it only hit the tyrant zombie. But that's not really what we want, because we're going to have lots of different enemies. So we just want to be able to tag the enemy as enemy and then have blood, and we want to be able to tag everything in our environment as environment and have that make bullet holes. Well, that's what I want to do anyway. Okay, so if hit.transform tag is equal to quotation marks environment, close that off. Then we want to instantiate, did I spell that right? Yes, that's a nice change. Instantiate bullet holes, is that how I spelled it? Bullet holes. Yep, bullet holes hit dot point quaternion dot from to rotation vector 3 dot right comma hit dot normal. And then we need 2 of them, and close that off with a semicolon. Okay, instantiate bullet holes hit dot point quaternion dot from rotation from to rotation vector 3 dot right hit null. Yep, that should be fine. Now we just need to copy that. Sorry, we'll copy. Yeah, copy that. Did I just do that? Copy that. Paste it there. And we just need to... I'll just change that to else if. You can just do an if statement, but I'll do else if, because we might be adding more stuff onto this. Like, maybe we could make it later on so that if we hit the ground, we make a dust particle effect, or anything like that. Possibilities are pretty much unlimited. We just need to change a few things here. So else if hit.transform.tag is equal to enemy for this one. We want to instantiate the blood effect, not the bullet holes. blood effect, and I just want to change dot right to dot up for this one. Okay, so now that we have made our function, we're going to need to call this function, and we'll need to call it after we have shot the ray and the ray has actually hit one of these objects we've tagged, because where the actual ray hits one of these objects that's tagged with environment enemy is where it's going to instantiate the bullet holes or the blood effect. So just copy that and put it here, and don't forget to put a semicolon on the end. So save that and back into Unity, and now we need to make our actual bullet effect. So right click down here in the assets, go to create material, and I'll call this bullet underscore holes, and we need to grab this bullet hole texture. Excuse me. First of all, we need to make a template to put this actual bullet hole texture on. Grab the bullet hole texture, put it in albedo, and now we'll make a template to put it on. So we got first person controller here. If you double click on an object like first person controller or anything like that, and then I bring a 3D object, say a cube, it'll put it on that object I've double clicked on. So I'm just going to move this cube in front of our player for a second, and I'm going to just narrow it down a little bit, make it taller and make it wider. Just move that up there, so it's going to be a wall in front of us to sort of test it out on. So I'm going to double click on this game object and then make another cube, and this is going to be our actual template for our bullet texture or material to go on. So this is going to have to be pretty skinny. You don't want it sitting too far out from the wall, so make it nice and skinny, and drag your bullet hole material. Actually, I'll rename this first, sorry. We'll call this, just click on it and press F2, and we'll call this bullet hole, and grab this little material that we have here and just put that on the bullet hole. So right, so now we have our bullet hole on our template. It's pretty far away from the wall, so I'm just going to move it as close to the wall as I can without it disappearing. That should be fine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this material that's on our bullet hole, and I'm going to actually click on this material here, the one that we use, not the actual bullet hole in our scene. Come down here and click on this material, and you'll see with our bullet hole you can sort of see a little bit of the background, the template that it's actually on. So a good way to sort of fix this that I like to do with Unity 5 is make sure you clicked on the material down here, And where it says opaque here, we don't want opaque because it looks all faded out. I don't want it like that. You can come to shaders up here and you can put it to like particle effects like multiply and things like that, and it looks pretty cool, but you still got to play around with this border here. So I'd prefer just to leave this on standard. When it says where it says rendering mode here, I'll click on that and click on cutout, and you'll see you've got this alpha cutoff slider here. If we slide this up, it'll start taking away from the back to forward. See that? And we slide it the other way, it brings it back. So I just like to slide this across, probably all the way. I want to go like that and leave our bullet hole like that. So once you've got this how you want it, you can play around. As I said, you can change the shaders. You can have it as a multiply or a additive, whatever you want to do. There's lots of different ones you can use. Just get it looking how you want it. And I am going to leave mine like this. And what we're going to do now is grab the bullet hole that's in our hierarchy, and we're going to turn it into a prefab by dragging it down into our assets and just letting go like that. So now you'll see here we have our bullet hole, and up here it's got a little blue cube, which means it's now a prefab. So we can grab this one here and delete that out of our scene because we don't need it, and go to your FPS controller, and we'll see where we've got the slots here. Grab the prefab and put that in the bullet hole, and I think we should be pretty much right to go. So we'll test it out. And of course it's not working, so we'll quickly check out and see what's going on. Of course it's not working because, geez, I'm dumb sometimes. We only want it to make a bullet hole when we hit something that's tagged as environment, as we stated in our script. The bullet hole is for something that's tagged environment, so we're going to have to tag this as environment. So to tag as environment, it's really easy. Just click on this wall here, our test wall. As you can see, it says untagged. Click on this. You can see we've got some tags. We've got an enemy tag already made for us by Unity. Just add tag. Click on this little plus if you haven't already got a slot here, and it has to be spelt exactly the same as in our script. Environment. Okay, so now we have our tag made. Click back on the wall, go to tags and make it tagged as environment. Alright, so it should work this time. So we'll go back in. As you can see, I made some huge bullet holes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here, grab my little prefab bullet hole, put it back on the wall. Going to go to the resize tool, and right in the middle of this white square here, left click on that, and then if you just left click and pull it back towards you, you will make it smaller, and if you push it forward, you'll make it bigger, and it'll size it in proportion rather than moving in the size individually. So I am going to make it like that, and that should be, I'll make it smaller actually. I'll make it that small. And now remember, because we've changed the prefab, you want to, if you want to keep the changes you've made, drag the bullet hole back on top of your bullet hole prefab, and now this will be the same as this. So delete this one again. And you see we have bullet holes. They're just jittering around a bit because I think it is actually too far into the collider for the box, so you can just move it out a bit and then resave it. But the major problem we have now is, as you can see, over in our hierarchy, we are just making heaps and heaps of bullet hole clones because we have a minigun. So to fix this, we need to put a destroy after a certain amount of time script on our bullet holes. Otherwise, if we just keep shooting this gun all over our level, what's going to happen is it's going to slow the game down because there's going to be so many bullet hole clones there. So to fix this, it's really easy. We're just going to right click down here, go to create JavaScript, and we're going to call it destroy bullet holes. Okay, so convert your line endings and get rid of all this stuff, we don't need it. And now we are just going to do a really simple script, and it's just going to say destroy game object, comma, and then we just write how many seconds before this game object that this script's going to be attached to, how many seconds before it is destroyed. I would recommend about 15 to 20 for bullet holes, but we're just going to do, actually I'll just do 10, and close off the parentheses and then semicolon, and that's it. That's all we're going to do. Save that. Go down here. I'm just going to quickly bring this out a little bit, because before it was probably too far into the actual collider from the wall. I'm just going to bring it out a little bit from the wall, and I'm going to drag that back down here so it saves. Get rid of the bullet hole, and then click on your prefab bullet hole here. I'll just close this up so we got some room, and just drag the destroy bullet hole script on there. And now, hopefully, after 10 seconds, they start to disappear. Okay, so that's basically what we want. And they all disappear. So you can tag anything you want, play around with it and get it looking a bit better than what mine look like. I don't want to spend all day doing it. Just say this wall over here, see I've already tagged this environment when I was playing around with it yesterday, and I've already tagged this one as environment. Don't tag the door as environment, because see how it's got a collider on the outside? The bullet holes will actually appear at the top of this collider, so it'll look like it's sticking way out from the wall. So yeah, just keep that in mind. You can tag all these walls. So if we go over here now, I'll just get my mouse. We are going to do a cursor lock as well, because it's starting to annoy me. As you can see, we get bullet holes on our wall that should start to disappear very shortly. And there we go. Okay. Alright guys, so that'll do it for today. In the next one we will mess around with particles, which I'm pretty rubbish at, but we'll make a blood particle, and then we'll make that so that when we shoot this fella here, blood comes out of him. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll just quickly tidy up our project. So grab your texture, put that in your textures. We need to make a folder for prefabs now, since we've made our first prefab. Just call this prefabs. Drag that in. That's a material, so that goes in materials, scripts. Okay, so that'll be fine. So as I said, in the next tutorial we'll be doing the blood effect for the enemy, and then after that we're going to do some really cool stuff, because I'm sick of this enemy being so boring and sort of just chasing after us like a cardboard cutout. We're actually going to use Mechanim and make some animations for this guy, so that's going to be pretty cool. And then after that, one of you guys asked if I could possibly do like a bullet counter script, so we are actually going to do that for our minigun, or I'll attempt to do that, so that we actually have a bullet counter to show how many bullets we have left in our minigun and stuff like that. Okay, so yeah, thanks for watching, and please don't forget about the art for my channel. So if anyone has any spare time, I'd really appreciate it if you're good at that kind of thing, to make some art for the channel and just send it to coxytutorials@yahoo.com. Alright guys, thanks a lot for watching. Please remember to like and comment on the videos for me. Cheers.